Hello class, and welcome to another installment of Miss Sizzle's Historical Cooking. Now, today we will be learning about Westward expansion through making our most delicious chocolate cake. Now, our ingredients are 2 1/4 cup of flour, 1 2/3 cup of sugar, 2/3 cup of cocoa, a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of vanilla, 3/4 cup of shortening, a dash of cinnamon, and a good old can of store-bought chocolate frosting. Now, oh, and don't forget your water. It's very important. 1 1/4 cup, darling. First, we'll start off by putting the flour in. And of course, this flour represents some of the white people who moved to the West. Now, several of them went to the West for gold and land, and, well, we'll cover all that later. This next part is sugar, and this is our Chinese. Now, our Chinese is a bit bittersweet because of the mining and, well, quite frankly, they weren't treated very well. We'll get to that later. And, of course, our cocoa. Now, Westward expansion happened just after the Civil War, and several of the freed blacks decided to go and be cowboys. So, of course, they're going to go in the mix, too. There we go. All right. And next, our cinnamon. Now, we had the Mexican-American War, and of course they came west as well. So we're just going to put in a dash of that, and that's going to be just so perfect with the chocolate, and oh, it'll just be heavenly, darling. Now, we're going to have a teaspoon of salt, and this one is a bit sad to me. As you know, there were several Indians in the West, and they all got moved on to reservations, and, well, that's what the salt represents. Because you can't have something so sweet without something that's kind of a bit different and, you know, in this case, sad. But it's going to be very good in the end, I promise. Put that in there. All right, and now for our baking soda and our baking powder. Now, these are rising agents and, well, science. That's not what this is about. Go see Miss Frizzle for that. But rising agents in the West definitely had to be the gold rushes. Now, there were several. There was the California, the Colorado, the Wyoming, the Montana. Look them up. They're so great, and there was such a power in the West. And next, we have water. And our water, well, it helps to thicken it up a bit. I like to think that this represents the boomers and the sooners for the Oklahoma land race. Now, the boomers were there and actually waited to get their land, and, well, the sooners, they took it illegally, but nonetheless, still thickened up the West. That rhymed! Oh. And next, we're going to have our 2 eggs. Quite nice. I think I might have forgotten to mention those earlier, but eggs, very important. These are at room temperature. I find that they work best if they are. Oh, and this little guy is rolling away. Oh, goodness. Well, not everybody could do that. But I guess they did. They rolled in from the east to the west, and it's quite nice. Alright, and those hope to thicken it up a little bit as well. Next, we've got our shortening, and it's a lot of shortening, if you can't tell. But I like to think this kind of represents the several purchases. We had the Louisiana Purchase, the Texas annexation, the, what was it? Oh, the Gadsden Purchase, and the Mexican Cession, and, well, several other things. And those are quite important. Again, they help to thicken it up, give it a little bit of flavor. Woo! That sloshed out a bit on me. And just need butter. Well, in this case, shortening. Tricky bits. There we go. And to finish it off for this, we're going to have our vanilla. Vanilla, the sweet, prices on land. You like that slang there? Well, land was cheap and that was such a huge draw, and what would a cake be without vanilla? Now, all we're going to do is mix it all up with my trusty mixer. Here we go. Alrighty. Now that we've got that all mixed up, you just tap off that bit of excess there. You should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Now, my favorite part, we get our pan that's been all greased and floured, which is very important because this is going to help transport the cake back onto the pan once it's done cooking. And transportation was a very big part of the West, from railways and covered wagons to horses and all that. So, naturally, we need to have some transportation. You'll just take all of this, and you can use your spatula from earlier, and you start pouring it into your bundt pan. All through here. This part may take a bit. Now that our cake is in our pan, we put it into the oven. Your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees, and it'll go in there for about 40 minutes. And that's gonna be it. And we'll wait. Now, as you can see, we've taken our cake out of the oven, we've allowed it to cool before putting it out on the cake plate. Now, I'm just cutting a small slice right here because, well, why not have some after all that hard work? And we'll just come in, and as you can see, I'm using the store-bought frosting from earlier. Excuse me, darling. And did I just drizzle that right over the top, because nothing is more American than store-bought frosting. Ooh, it doesn't look too great, but I mean, it's not homemade. But that's just how it is, and we're going to go over the top with a little bit of sugar. Make it rain. And then we're going to go on with a little bit of cinnamon. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is your Westward expansion cake. Now, I hope you bake this and take some of it to your history teacher, because they will love it. Because nothing says thank you more than cake. Sizzle-izzle!